Let's discuss 25 painful things men experience in relationships. It seems like men are caught between two dilemmas: how to be the masculine, stoic archetype who never has or shows feelings, and how to get his needs met in his relationship. It might be tempting to say that you can't get your needs met in a relationship because women are crazy, too complicated, and they're never satisfied. And yes, this is a possibility, but what else might be a possibility? Before you try and think of another possibility, here's some important information to have. No one can get their needs met in a relationship if they are not even aware of what their needs are. No one can get their needs met in a relationship if they struggle to understand their feelings. And yes, men have feelings too. Regardless of what you hear people say, you have feelings too. So instead of saying, quote unquote, men don't have feelings, or quote unquote, women are emotional and men are logical, I propose that we say men's feelings manifest differently in the world and in relationships than women's feelings, generally speaking. We all use feelings and logic to make sense of the world and other people, unless, of course, we have some sort of mental disorder that prevents us from doing so. We use feelings to decide if something is good or bad, and we use thinking or logic to decide if something is true or false. When men hide their feelings from others and from themselves, they cannot get their needs met in their relationships because our feelings are our compass to help us decide what our needs are and therefore take the steps towards getting them met. So here are 25 painful things that are common for men to experience in relationships. Rejected. This inner voice can sound like, I feel like I'm not needed, or I feel like I'm not wanted. Abandoned. This inner voice can sound like, I feel alone, or I think she's going to leave me. Like a failure. This inner voice can sound like, I can't do anything right, or I am not good enough. Powerless. This inner voice can sound like, I can't do anything to make my relationship better, or she's controlling. Defective. This inner voice can sound like, something is wrong with me. Inadequate. This inner voice can sound like, I am incompetent. Inferior. This inner voice can sound like, she's better than me, or she's more important than me, or she has more value than me. Invalidated. This can sound like, who I am, what I think, what I do, or how I feel is not valued. Unloved. This can sound like, she doesn't love me anymore, or I feel like we're roommates. Cheated. This can sound like, she takes advantage of me, or she knows what I want, but she won't give it to me, or I won't get what I want. Dissatisfied. This sounds like, I will never be happy in this relationship. Worthless. This inner voice can sound like, I am useless to her. Don't measure up. This inner voice sounds like, I am never able to meet her expectations. Unaccepted. This can sound like, she wants to change me, or she'll never accept me as I am. Judged. This inner voice can sound like, she's always judging me, or she doesn't approve of me. Humiliated. This sounds like, she's always laughing at me. Ignored. This inner voice can sound like, she doesn't pay attention to me, or my needs are being neglected, or all she cares about are the kids. Unimportant. This can sound like, I'm not important to her, or I am irrelevant, or I am not one of her priorities. Misunderstood. This can sound like, she never understands me, or she's pretending like she doesn't understand me. Disrespected. This inner voice can sound like, she doesn't admire me, or she has a low opinion of me, or she doesn't respect me. Disconnected. This can sound like, even though we're physically in the same place, I feel like there's distance between us. Unaware. This can sound like, I don't understand what's going on in my relationship. This can also sound like, she's keeping secrets from me, or she's lying to me. Alone. This usually sounds like, I feel lonely in this relationship, or no one understands me. Unfair. This inner voice can sound like she's always right, or things always have to go her way, or she wants me to give her things she never gives me, or I'm always the one to say I'm sorry. Disappointed. This can sound like I always let her down, or she always lets me down. Just because we are unaware that we are feeling something, it doesn't mean we aren't feeling it. The feeling is still there, whether we like it or not. Trying to hide our feelings from ourselves and from our partners just causes us to react in emotionally immature and unproductive ways. Here are the most common ways we react to our partners when we are attempting to hide our true feelings. Withdraw. You isolate yourself, or you give her the silent treatment. You go into earn it mode. You do more to make her happy again, like buying gifts. Blaming. You make her responsible for your reactions and your feelings. And you say things like, if you didn't blank, then I wouldn't blank. Exaggeration. You use absolutes like you never or you always. Denial. You refuse to admit how you contributed to the conflict. Passive aggression. You display aggression in an unassertive way. You become stubborn. Like you purposely do something you know she hates, like leaving your clothes on the floor or coming home late. Complain or criticize. You bring up all the things she did wrong in the past. You say things like, you know what your problem is? You emotionally shut down. You go numb or you stop talking altogether. You use humor. You make jokes to avoid dealing with the problem. Sarcasm. You make belittling or demeaning comments. Minimization. You say she's overreacting, just crazy, or you downplay the situation. Self-abandonment. You give up and you neglect stating what you need to recover from the argument. Do you use any of these tactics in your relationship? What feelings are you usually trying to avoid when you use these unhealthy tactics? When you're aware of the negative feeling you're experiencing, you can ask yourself these two questions. Number one, what relationship need is this feeling trying to alert me that isn't being met? And number two, what boundary is this feeling trying to alert me that I need to set? If you want to have a satisfying relationship, are you courageous enough to do the work? Courage is not the absence of fear. It's deciding that something is more important than your fear. Thank you for watching. I am grateful for you. My name is Melissa Rochelle, and I'm a holistic wellness and relationship coach. Please remember to like, subscribe, and most importantly of all, share this information with everyone you know, so that we can do everything we can to break the generational cycles of broken homes, burnt out single moms, and fatherless children.